and welcome to episode 1.5. I wouldn't quite call it episode 2 yet, because episode 2 is coming out on Wednesday. We got our normal Wednesday episode with a guest and interview and recap of the week. This is episode 1.5. We're going to recap Money in the Bank 2017. Happened last night. Main evented by, of course, the Money in the Bank ladder match. We had our first women's Money in the Bank ladder match, another Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton WWE Championship match, some tag title match. A lot happened. This is From the Top Rope. I'm your host, Robbie Fox. Joining me is my co-host, Jinder Carrabis. What's up, Jared?
What's going on, Octagon Bob?
Not much. We talked on our first episode last week with Cody Rhodes. Go listen to it if you haven't already. Rate us, review us, 5 stars, all that fancy stuff. Subscribe on iTunes, all of it. We talked about the goal for this podcast, to kind of be a very positive wrestling podcast and not dwell on the fault of WWE all the time, and not dwell on and complain and, whine and all that. They're giving us a challenge for week 2, kind of. It's not going to be super easy, but we're going to get through it. You watched Money in the Bank last night. I know that.
Sure did.
Before we get into the card, little overall thought. You don't have to go in depth on anything, but just overall thought of the pay-per-view.
I think it's funny that you're like, yeah, we're going to be this very positive, wrestling podcast, but if my overall thought on the pay-per-view is that it was incredibly underwhelming. I was incredibly underwhelmed because I think periodically as we go, we'll kind of talk about and reflect on our favorite things about wrestling, and we haven't even talked about who our favorite wrestlers are, like how we got like our backstories. But if we were to talk about our favorite pay-per-views, I would tell you that Money in the Bank is one of my favorite pay-per-views of the entire year. And I don't know if it's because CM Punk and Cena from, I think it was 2011. That's my favorite match of all time. Not my favorite Money in the Bank match. That's my favorite match of all time. So I always have this high hope for the pay-per-view because it's not one of the big four. But they do tend to have them in cities that there's a lot of buzz, which the St. Louis crowd last night was great. I thought that they were a great crowd. So, anytime that there's a great crowd, it almost gives you that big fight feel, even if it's not a big fight. But overall, I was pretty underwhelmed by the card itself and the results of pretty much every single match.
Yeah, I felt very much the same way, and it is interesting that we said we're going to be very positive, and then this isn't going to be the most positive review, but I think we'll be able to talk about Money in the Bank intelligently, and we're educated, and it was underwhelming. Underwhelming is the way to put it, because I feel like a lot of the stuff wasn't like actively bad. There wasn't a lot of stuff that was like, wow, this is not good. It was just underwhelming. Every match left you wanting more, and not in the good, like, oh, I can't wait to see that next month, in the way that, like, I wished more happened in that match.
Right.
Money in the Bank, I would say, to our generation, is one of the big four. Survivor Series took a back seat somewhere along the line, and Money in the Bank stepped up. And maybe it was probably around 2011 where that happened. This should have been a dual-brand pay-per-view from the start. There's no reason why SmackDown should have the only Money in the Bank briefcases in this women's and men's division. I think it would have been more history-making. The women's Money in the Bank match was built up as history-making if we had 3 people from Raw, 3 people from SmackDown, and they're competing to bring that title, to that briefcase, to their brand. And then we'll have the normal ones, Raw and SmackDown. You could load up the undercard. The undercard was just very underwhelming. They had to add a match to the card during the show because there just wasn't enough time to fill up. I did like that it gave the main event a lot of time and a lot of room to breathe, but we can get right into the card. It opened up.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Before we get into the card, though, I wanted to make a quick point, because I think that your point about having it be a split brand pay-per-view is such a no-brainer. Like, when I think about the big four, Money in the Bank should be in there. I think that out of all like the gimmick pay-per-views, like Hell in a Cell is kind of overplayed at this point, but Money in the Bank when they were doing it at WrestleMania every year, like that was exciting. And then they made it its own pay-per-view, and it was still exciting. Like Hell in a Cell, it's like when they brought it in, it was exciting. And then they made it a pay-per-view, and it was like, well, whatever. But with Money in the Bank, I think that Money in the Bank should replace Survivor Series as one of the big four, because there's no draw to just like 5-man elimination tag matches. Like that's not exciting. It's just Survivor Series has been around for so long. It's been a staple in the company. It's where the Undertaker debuted. So it's like we have to keep Survivor Series as this big thing, when in reality it's not. I don't think that anyone really looks forward to it. They always create these like stupid storylines to go along with the big Survivor Series matches where someone's job's on the line or this or that. Survivor Series at this point is basically just, the 40-year-old uncle that's just drunk all the time, and you have to invite him to Christmas, but you don't want to, but you feel obligated to. Like they're married to Survivor Series as this big deal, when it's not. And if you look at this generation of wrestling fans, if you polled them and said, all right, put in order the top 4 pay-per-views of the year, I would have to think that Money in the Bank would be in 80% or higher of wrestling
I would say
fans.
they would say WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank.
Yes. Yep. So that's the top 4. So WWE, if you're listening, we're voting Survivor Series off the island, and Money in the Bank is now in as a top 4 pay-per-view.
Yeah, especially when you look at the stipulation pay-per-views, which I'm not the biggest fan of, like Hell in a Cell, TLC, stuff like that.
I'm biased, though.
I like them because they're usually good cards and they usually have good matches, but I would much rather the surprise of, all right, well, these two people hate each other, so they're going to go in the Hell in the Cell, and that's how we're going to settle this feud, as opposed to, well, it's October, so, your match that maybe you guys have a slight disagreement, that'll be in the Hell in the Cell. And same thing for TLC. Money in the Bank, it's a little bit different because it's the stipulation, and Money in the Bank will last you, hypothetically, a year, and that person will have a briefcase for a very long time. And it's like, here, we're kicking off Money in the Bank. You'll have a Money in the Bank match. Whoever gets the briefcase has it for the next 365 days, can cash in whenever they want. It's a little more understandable because there's like a payoff. Hell in a Cell is the payoff. Yep. So I would much rather they keep Money in the Bank as the only gimmick pay-per-view, and then take Hell in a Cell out, take TLC out. There's another one I think I'm forgetting. But it's like, even Clash of Champions at this point.
Extreme Rules?
Yeah, Extreme Rules. That's the other one. Clash of Champions is another one where it's like, all the titles are always defended. Like, we don't have to have one pay-per-view where you're like, and tonight, every title will be defended. It's like, yeah, that's every single month, twice a month.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Opening up this pay-per-view was the historic first ever women's Money in the Bank match between Carmella, Charlotte Flair, and Natalya.
Whoa. You're not going to give any props to the Hype Bros and the Colognes?
Oh, no, definitely not. For sure not.
Okay.
Not going to do that. Carmella, Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Tamina, and Becky Lynch. This one, I was glad it opened the show because you really didn't know what to expect from it. I said it could have either been the best or the worst match on the card, and I thought there was kind of little room in between. It fit in that little room in between.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I would say, definitely the most controversial match of the card. I don't know if you have this wild 3 TV setup that people were chirping you about last night. They were like, "What, are you not watching wrestling?" And then you had to answer people and be like, "Of course I'm watching wrestling. I have 3 TVs going at the same time."
Sure do.
But on Twitter, the finish of this match caused a lot of controversy.
Yes.
Now the finish was James Ellsworth, Carmella's manager, climbed the ladder, retrieved the briefcase, and just tossed it down to her. And I'm on what many people would consider the losing end of this argument because I love that finish.
Well, the whole point was to get heat on Carmella, and they succeeded. I mean, if the crowd is pissed off, so one of my favorite things about pro wrestling is when there's almost a backlash about the integrity of the sport.
Yeah, and there was with this.
It's like, well, what? How did Carmella win if she's not the one that climbed the ladder to get the briefcase? Like, how did James Ellsworth isn't in the match? And it's like, it's fucking pro wrestling. Like,
she's a bad guy. That's why you don't like her. She's bad.
Exactly. So I was the first. We talked about this on episode 1. My thoughts about the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. I didn't like it, and I don't think the crowd was into it. It was kind of a lame crowd all night, to be honest with you. But for that match, I think that the expectations were very high. I thought that they were going to go over the top because of, first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. You got to bring it. And with the first ever women's Money in the Bank match, you had a "This is awesome" chant. You had, the crowd was getting super into it when you had 2 people on the ladder at the same time, like who's going to get the briefcase. And the end, I mean, those boos were loud. Like, those were loud boos for a women's match where, like Charlotte was probably the biggest name in the match. And I picked her for that reason because, she's the one that usually does all the historical stuff. And this was a very historical match in terms of women's wrestling. But to your point, that was the perfect way to do it. Like if Carmella had just climbed the ladder, because how many times have we seen, someone aided in a ladder match by someone just, clearing the ring for them, setting up the ladder, and then they go up and they climb it and they get the title or they get the briefcase. And it's like, okay, but what's going to get you louder boos? Carmella being helped up the ladder herself to get it, or James Ellsworth going up the ladder himself, tossing it down to Carmella, who made a great catch, by the way.
Great catch. Yeah.
That was a great catch. I was very impressed by that. But that's the way to do it. If you want to get super heel heat on Carmella, that's the way to do it.
And I'm a little biased because on last week's show I said the way they should do it is they should have James Ellsworth tip over the ladder while Becky Lynch is going for it and help Carmella win, which is exactly what he did. But so many people were bringing up, they said this is supposed to be a history-making match, and Carmella ruined that. And it's like, yes, that's exactly what she did. That's what they were aiming for. This was supposed to be a history-making match, and Carmella, the heel, cheated to win. Cheated loosely because there's no rules in a Money in the Bank match. So technically what they did was within the rules. But that's the whole point. And she posted this great side-by-side on Instagram of Shawn Michaels holding the title at WrestleMania 12 and her holding the Money in the Bank briefcase, both of them crying. And she's like, this is, what we work our whole careers for, this moment right here. Yep. And it's just like, this is so perfect. And Daniel Bryan tweeted in kayfabe that, like, this was ridiculous and we're going to reprimand Carmella and James Ellsworth. This is not the way it was supposed to go. So maybe they're going to do the old G1 Climax thing from New Japan if you want to bring in how much Daniel Bryan loves Japanese wrestling, and every single match that Carmella has from here on out is defending the briefcase. I think that would be really interesting.
That would be. And if last night was any indicator of how they're going to handle the briefcase situation with her, she could be, that briefcase winner that just comes out with the briefcase all the time to just troll people in title matches, which, again, great way to get some heat.
Great way to get heat, because even though she's a heel, even though I think a lot of people legitimately don't like her for whatever reason, people love a cash-in. No matter who's cashing in, people love it. They love to see a title change live, so they'll pop. And then when she doesn't cash it in, she'll get boos every single time she does it.
Yep.
So the match itself, I enjoyed. I thought the match was good. I thought Becky Lynch was kind of the star of the match. She did a lot of cool stuff. Tamina was not very good in the match. Almost every spot involving her went wrong in some way. Maybe my favorite spot of the match was a Carmella spot where Becky was climbing the ladder in the corner, and Carmella put her hands on the bottom rung and did like a leap up Hurricane Rana.
Yep.
I thought that was really cool. Really
Charlotte
enjoyable.
Did have her high spot.
Charlotte had she did like Alexa Bliss's finisher off the top rope. From the top rope, maybe?
From the top rope.
Shout out, subscribe, rate, review. 5 stars, 6 stars.
5 stars.
She did Alexa Bliss's finisher to the floor, which was cool, but we all kind of expected the moonsault off the ladder or whatnot. Kind of glad she didn't do it because she could have got hurt. Next up on the pay-per-view, The New Day challenged the Usos for their tag team championships, their SmackDown tag team championships. This match was fucking awesome.
Yeah, the Usos have been bringing it recently, and I think we talked about this on the last show about how, heel Usos have been the best version of the Usos ever. Like this heel run currently, And I think the finish to this match sort of speaks to that, and that, the theme being underwhelming, we didn't get to see a finish that maybe we would like to see, but that's part of the charm of heel Usos right now. They're just because we end up wanting more from it. There's a difference between like that match was underwhelming because the performers didn't deliver, and this being underwhelming or because we want more from them because they're that good.
I thought the finish made sense. I thought it was a smart finish, a smart heel finish. My only gripe was that where it was placed in the card. At the time, I was like, ooh, it's kind of unfortunate that this heel cheating to win, kind of a dastardly, not even to win, to lose. They got counted out in this match. The Usos purposely got counted out to retain their titles. I was just like, oh, it was placed right after the last heel cheating to win. That's like poor card placement. But when you look down the list, almost every single match went that way. So it was hard to position this in a good way. The match itself was really, really, really good, though. The two from the New Day were Big E and Kofi, as it usually is. And they pulled out some new spots. They've been gone for a while, since pretty much right after WrestleMania. We had the Revival take them out. They pulled out some spots they've never done before. And Kofi, most of them was Kofi. He did my favorite spot in this match was one of the Usos went for a super kick, and Kofi did like a spin kick where he caught the leg with his leg and put on a dragon sleeper. And that was like, blew my mind. I was like, that looks like something out of a Kung Fu movie.
Yeah.
And then he did the top rope trust fall where he jumped 20 billion feet in the air into the Usos. That was awesome. Big E does his dive through the ropes spear that every single time I'm like, oh, he's going to die this time. This is the time. This is the last time we'll ever see Big E do this. Makes me super nervous. Awesome match. Kind of deflating finish, but I like the way they're moving this. I think this is a clear, like, the payoff will be SummerSlam. They'll stretch this as long as they can go.
Yeah.
I
didn't want this to be a one-off with them. Like these are two guys that you want to see have like a 3-match program.
Yeah. And there's one of the only feuds going on SmackDown right now that is like that way. And maybe even SummerSlam, heighten the drama, add Breezango to the match and do a 3-way tag match or do something like that to change it up, or even do that at the next pay-per-view, and then at SummerSlam we can do the payoff New Day versus Usos where the New Day finally comes out on top. I would have liked it better if the Usos won clean. I think the Usos winning clean would have been a really fun story to tell, like I said last week, of New Day didn't take them serious enough, and New Day is realizing that the SmackDown tag team division is not something to play around with. That would be a way to heighten the tag division when it needs it. But I don't really have any gripes with this match. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, no, yeah. To your point, I definitely think that there should have been a winner, and it should have been the Usos. Like that. I think when we were talking about it last week, I was like, this is really their time to shine, because I thought that it was unfortunate when they were, doing their face kind of Samoan characters, and then Romans kind of stink at the time rubbed off on them. So then they fans became indifferent towards them. So that's why I enjoyed. There was no way to go back to just fully face Usos. It's like, no, they're Roman's cousins. We don't like them. So you turn them heel, and they get this completely different persona. Like they're not even close to what they were before.
That had to be someone seeing them on Talking Smack too, and being like, these guys are really good on Talking Smack. They're starting to show. The Usos started to slide under some heel tendencies on Talking Smack. Someone must have saw that and been like, we should maybe move in this direction because this is good. This is working.
Yeah, they've been really good in their heel role. I just think that they should have been rewarded with a clean victory here. But again, the whole walking away thing sets it up for, fans wanting more from this feud.
Yeah, you could eventually do a steel cage match, so play up the gimmick that they can't leave. That could be good. We had Lana's debut in the next match. Lana's singles match debut against Naomi for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was the first match on the card where I had the wrong prediction. I really thought they were going to put the title on Lana, especially when she hit her finisher. This match just wasn't good. It wasn't like actively horrendous, but there just wasn't a ton going on. Lana's selling left a lot to be desired. Her She was like screaming every spot in the match. I heard every spot before it happened. It made me laugh a lot, but obviously that's not what they're aiming for. Her attire, her ring attire, very nice.
That was something else. Yeah.
Very nice. Crafted well by the seamstresses at WWE. Enjoyed her ring attire. It made this match very watchable. I also laughed very hard when she kicked out of the rear view and then like Naomi kicked out of her finisher. The match ran 7 minutes and 30 seconds, and the last maybe minute and a half of it was the shenanigans with Carmella. Carmella's music hit during the match. She came out teasing a cash-in and didn't do it, like we talked about before. So, like, in those 6 minutes, there were 2 finisher kickouts, and I was like, is this WrestleMania? Is this the main event of WrestleMania, or is this, like, a quick women's championship match where one of the characters... I don't know what Lana's supposed to be, by the way. The whole match, I could almost not even focus on this match due to 2 things, Lana's attire, and I just kept thinking, what is her gimmick? Is she a ballroom dancer?
Emmalina.
Is she supposed to be like a bad dancer? Is she supposed to be a Russian sympathizer? Why does she wear a dress? Why is there saxophone in her theme? Her theme is also one of my favorite themes in the company instantly because it's like 10 different genres of music all playing at the exact same time, and it just makes me laugh every time the saxophone hits.
Did they do any vignettes to kind of build up her character as a singles wrestler?
They did quick vignettes that featured her sitting on a chair with like a burlesque-looking top hat type thing. So I think her gimmick is dancer, but we haven't really seen her dance at all. She does like a little dance when she enters.
Yeah, it seems rushed to me. It's like, because I told you I didn't think that she was physically capable of wrestling. I thought that she had some sort of injury that prevented her from ever stepping into the ring as a competitor. And then all of a sudden I hear, oh, Lana's actually she's debuting soon, and now she has a title shot at a pay-per-view. Like her first singles match ever. Is a singles match for the women's championship. But yeah, I didn't hate it as much as you did. I was like reading your tweets being like, he is not enjoying this whatsoever.
I didn't enjoy it. I don't know if I would say I hated it, but I was just like, this is really bad.
But you obviously didn't have high expectations going into it.
No, not at all.
Really have been?
It was just like every time Lana on offense was okay. She was like passable. There's nothing about her.
So
on
this is my theory. I think that we are now we're sort of spoiled because of the quote unquote women's revolution where you had Sasha come up, you had Becky come up, Bayley to an extent, Charlotte. They kind of like set the bar so high that anyone who comes in after them is going to look like shit. So I don't think that Lana looked bad. I think she just kind of looked like pretty much. She looked
like a diva from 2004.
Yeah,
and not to
and I don't think that anyone said that they sucked. It was just they weren't these.
She looked like someone that just learned how to wrestle, which she is. She's someone that just learned how to wrestle. Every bump she took, she smacked her hands on the mat to make the loud noise, and it's like, you learned fundamentals. There you go.
Yeah, the tough enough bumps.
Her offense was okay. Her selling wasn't amazing. She did a lot of screaming. She did a lot of, she was going elbow next. I heard her say elbow next at some point. She just screamed it, and then Naomi hit her an elbow, and I was like, ooh, whisper that. Just whisper that. Don't make me hear it. That ruins it for me. Right. Next up, we had the big main event of the night, Randy Orton's hometown of St. Louis. He was challenging Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship once again, and it went pretty much the exact same way as last time went. And by pretty much, I mean exactly the same way as last time went. Randy Orton controlled the majority of the match over Jinder. He was distracted from outside interference by the Singh brothers. He beat the shit out of the Singh brothers, and then as soon as he went right back in, he got hit with Jinder's finisher, and that was it. Cowboy Bob Orton and Sergeant Slaughter and Ric Flair and a bunch of Vern Gagne was ringside, I think. Just a bunch of legends were ringside. St. Louis legends, they were calling them. Not great.
So I think part of the whole thing of the pay-per-view being underwhelming is that there were literally no surprises. There was none. Like,
None.
there were no twists. There were no elements
Well,
to
you
it
could
that
say
we didn't
you could
see
say the
coming.
Money in the Bank matches were a little surprising. I mean, like we talked
picked
about both of
Corbin.
those. Yeah, so did I, and I picked Carmella. But I think to the casual viewer, both of those could have been surprising. I think especially
think-
Carmella. I think Carmella was surprising to people.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's why it should have been a split brand pay-per-view, because you would have had more, I guess, believable. I think it would have been more of a mystery of like who's going to go over here, because you would have had more to pick from of who's in a position right now to either win the briefcase or have a feud with someone who's currently holding the title. There were no twists and turns for me, and even someone who, kind of can sometimes foresee who's going to win things from like a booking perspective, they still throw some twists and turns that I don't see coming.
Yep.
I can't remember the last pay-per-view where I just literally felt like there were no twists or turns. There were no surprises. There was nothing like, oh shit, like I didn't see that coming. This was just one of those pay-per-views where it was, it was like a building block pay-per-view. There was no ends to a feud. There was nothing like that's going to build. I mean, I guess if you want to call the Usos match a builder to continue a feud.
Yeah,
but like,
I would say that was the one that was like
Yeah.
a definite builder.
Yeah, but the Jinder Mahal Randy Orton match, it's like, okay, now where does Jinder Mahal go from here?
Yeah,
Because
this one,
there wasn't a person in that building who thought that Randy Orton was winning that match.
nobody,
So it's just
and
like, all right,
especially
just
it was in
get it
St.
over.
Louis too, so they wanted him to win. It's very funny because they were so hot for Randy Orton's music hitting, and they were so hot for the Singh brothers coming out and introducing Jinder. Like Jinder had so much heat that I threw out a tweet. I was like, fuck, like Jinder has a lot of heat right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe it's working. And then I took a look and I was like, let me look into this. And I took a look at attendance of shows and I took a look at ratings. And I'm right. I'm not wrong. I mean the live crowds are hot, but ratings are the worst they've ever been on SmackDown since he has won the championship. And attendance is way down to the point where this show was not even a sellout in St. Louis with Randy Orton in the WWE Championship match. So I was like, all right, I'm not wrong, but he's got the live crowds. He knows how to work to a live crowd. It's kind of a old school thing. But the match was so boring. They were doing spinning toe holds over and over again. And I was like, this crowd was so hot for the entrances. They wanted to love this match so bad. And then it just was so boring. And they didn't get into the match until Jinder left the match, pretty much. Jinder disappeared for a large portion of this match where Randy Orton just beat the shit out of the Singh brothers. And now here's the fun point of the show where I can be very positive about something involving Jinder Mahal, which is kind of rare. But me and my friend talked about this last night. The Singh brothers are fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see them entering the tag team division at any point, or are they just gonna cling to Jinder Mahal the whole time?
I don't know. They're both like trained wrestlers. They could both work, but I almost see them as like J&J Security, what they were to Seth Rollins, but almost upgraded. They're so good in everything they do, and it took me a long time to realize it, but now I do. When they come out and introduce Jinder, like they're the ones getting all the heat on him, and they roll out the carpet for him. And then last night they get thrown out. The referee's like, get out of here. They walk over to the Legends and they're like, let's fuck with Randy's dad, basically. And they just start like shoving Cowboy Bob Orton for no reason. Randy Orton comes over. He's like, don't fucking talk to my dad. Starts beating the hell out of him. They're taking crazy bumps. The one Singh brother took the insane RKO through the table where Randy Orton looked like he dove 10 feet. Like he was like Jordan reaching out for his head and he pulled back RKO. These guys are the best part of this main event feud right now. And this is not a good main event feud. It's not.
Did you also notice that Randy Orton tried to recreate dumping one of them on their heads on the table?
Yeah.
Because that was like such a viral clip that he was like, all right, so we're going to definitely do that again.
Yeah.
Because it was super dangerous, too. He basically like
Very
dropped him on
dangerous.
his collarbone.
Very dangerous. It it made me laugh how similar this match was to the last one. Like, if I told you right now, take Cowboy Bob Orton, take the legends out of the equation. Pretend they weren't in this match, and now tell me what was different in the last match than this match. You wouldn't be able to do it, right?
Nope.
Yeah, and that's an issue. And you watched both matches, and you're a wrestling fan. It's not like they were on in the background. Like, I couldn't tell you a difference in either of the matches.
And I know that like this is probably going to come up every single time that we're talking about Jinder Mahal, but I cannot focus on his matches because my focus isn't on the match and the story that they're telling. I'm literally just sitting there being like, this fucking guy is on every steroid in the world. Like, just allegedly. Looking at his body, like, how many, like, his fucking body is covered in acne. Just his traps are massive. And I know that it's possible to put on muscle mass and do it naturally and look big and cut, but you don't get that big, that cut, and that vascular and have that much acne all over your body and just be like, yeah, that guy is just dieting and exercise. There's no fucking way. There's no way. And that's like, it takes away from the match. Like, that's what I'm thinking about the entire fucking match. I'm not thinking about who's going to win. I'm not thinking about what the title picture is going to be after this match. I'm just sitting there thinking like, how the fuck can anyone in this company look at him and be like, hey, keep up the hard work, bro. Like, hard work pays off. Like, there's no one that's thinking that. Everyone is just like, what the fuck is this guy taking? Like, that has to be what they're thinking.
I want what he's on.
Yeah.
Little Octagon Bob, get on some Jinder Mahal, get on the Jinder Mahal diet. Maybe I could go work out with him. I think he's definitely all natural. For sure.
There's hope for you. There's hope for you. I showed you those pictures of me when I was 18.
Yeah, there's definitely hope for me. Maybe we'll start a GoFundMe to like buy me protein shakes. Contribute to the Get Octagon Bob on the Jinder Mahal diet.
Yeah, some whey protein and maybe some creatine.
Yeah. So this isn't an exclusive scoop I'm breaking. This leaked a little bit all over the internet. I think Wrestling with Words was the first to have it. But the plans going forward for this, they're going to do this main event again at Battleground, and they are returning the Punjabi prison. It's coming back.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Dead serious.
No.
Dead serious. Punjabi prison's coming back, yeah, in the next match.
No.
Yep.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
So who else did it? Was Khali and The Undertaker. Was it also Khali and Batista that did
first
this?
match, I think the first match ever was Batista and The Undertaker, because Khali got hurt. So they had Batista and The Undertaker in a Punjabi prison.
This is terrible. That's the worst idea.
You know what's fucked up is, like, I'm a little bit interested, like way more than I was in the last two. To the point
where I'm
was
like, this? 2008, 2009?
Oh no, it was before that. I want to say it was 2007. But I'm like, I don't know. Sure, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
But haven't you they're not going to take the title off of Jinder and give it to Randy. If you're gonna do this gimmick match, at least give me a new feud with the mystery of maybe Jinder could lose this and you could put the title on this guy. They're not putting the title back on Randy from Jinder.
Do Jinder and AJ. Like, AJ will take something crazy off the bamboo prison.
Yeah, I'll take anyone. Please break it off with Randy. We know that you're not putting the title back on Randy from Jinder. Like, that's not the point of what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not building up Jinder to now give the title back to Randy. That's, even the casual fans know that. So why are you wasting? Like, if you're gonna bring back this big ass fucking gimmick match,
it's a huge structure.
It's huge.
And if you remember, my favorite part about it is it's so hard to see what's going on because, like, through the bamboo, when they get in between the two layers of bamboo, you're basically, like, looking at nothing at that point. You're like, I think there's two people in there, maybe.
Like, this match is the equivalent of a modern day adult-like Legends of the Hidden Temple. Like, that's what you're going to be watching.
Huge Legends of the Hidden Temple guy. Shout out Orange Iguanas.
Yes, for sure.
Next up, Breezango had a quick match with the Ascension. They set up on the Fashion Files. It was a very quick match. It was like 3 minutes long, so there's not really much to talk about there.
Did you predict who the blacked out dark?
Yeah.
You knew that it was going to be the Ascension?
Yeah, as soon as I saw them in that like silhouette thing, I was like, yeah, it's probably the Ascension. Plus, I also thought like, who else is left in the SmackDown Tag Division? I was like, the American Alpha is literally the only one. So
And they wouldn't do something like that.
yeah, I thought the Fashion Files was very funny. Again, I'm a huge Fashion Files guy. They did a little shake up and they did Miami Vice instead of the generic vignettes of like Law and Order or like the old school CSI. They did Miami Vice this time. It was really funny.
I appreciated the Michael Jackson references.
Yeah, a bunch of Michael Jackson references. In the background, they had like people on a corkboard. They had Dusty Rhodes and it said Fashion Icon.
Yeah.
And they had with the old steel cage and it said Blue Steel. I enjoy all of those little things. They're really good. The match was fine. I like that Breezango got on the card.
Do you think that you're higher on the Fashion Police than the company is?
Yeah, I do. I think a lot of the fans are, though. I think when they started the Fashion Police, they had no real plans with it, and then they saw it succeed, so they're kind of running with it. But I don't think. I mean, I think them having a 3-minute match with the Ascension on pay-per-view speaks to what they think of the Fashion Police.
True. I mean, they haven't really given them time to build a feud. Like you said, I think that they're kind of gradually building them up to be a tag team that people know is a comedic act, but can also take seriously, as like the New Day.
Yeah.
Like they're a comedic act that you can take seriously. I think the Fashion Police could become not the New Day, because I still think that the New Day is very much relevant and very much, should be in the tag title picture. But I don't know. Maybe, like you said, there could be could be a third entrant in a feud between the New Day, the Usos, and the Fashion Police.
I hope they run with them because I really like them, and the SmackDown Tag Division could use build up the tag divisions again. Back in the Attitude Era, we had guys like the Dudleys who would main event against like Austin and Rock, and it was believable that the main tag team could beat the two main eventers. I'd like to bring that back. Let me see. I want to see the New Day versus AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, and I want it to be believable that they could beat him, which at this point it kind of is. But it's different than it was in the Attitude Era, where the main eventers were like gigantic stars, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm all for building up a tag division, especially like American Alpha. What a botched NXT call-up where they had him cut one promo ever, and they were like, our hashtag squad goals are. It was like, oh, you guys didn't watch NXT. You guys don't know what their characters are. That's a shame.
Yeah.
The main event.
Not a big American Alpha guy.
I'm a huge American Alpha guy. Huge.
I'm not.
The main event was the Money in the Bank ladder match between Baron Corbin, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. Shinsuke was jumped during his entrance by Baron Corbin, and I thought for sure my conspiracy theory was correct. And we saw Shinsuke climb the ladder on SmackDown last week, and he was very careful with every step he was taking, and he was very close to the rungs. And I was like, that looks like a guy that's never climbed a ladder before. And that looks like a guy that's afraid of heights. So when he gets jumped before this match, I'm like, holy shit, he's afraid of heights. I was like, he's afraid of heights. He was like, Vince, I can't do it. I can't climb a ladder. You got to take me out. So Baron jumped him before he gets taken out on a stretcher. I was like, holy shit, Shinsuke Nakamura, he's afraid of heights. What a conspiracy theory.
I mean, it
could still be true.
I mean, what other reason could there be?
I have no idea, because I was thinking about that too. I was like, is it to protect him so like he doesn't have to win? But then he came back. He came back when Baron Corbin was about to win the match.
Yeah.
And he had some of the best moments of the entire match. But I think I'm gonna run with that conspiracy theory. I'm gonna keep it going. Shinsuke is afraid of heights.
I buy into it. Yeah, I definitely buy into it.
This match was match of the night. Definitely, it's not saying much because there weren't a ton of matches that blew me away, but it was really good. It took a little bit to get going.
Best spot for you?
Definitely the AJ and Shinsuke stare down on the ladder when they were staring at each other, and then they just picked up the ladder. They moved it to the side, and they were like, all right, we're going to do some fucking Japanese wrestling shit now. And they just started doing the striking exchanges. That was awesome. The sunset flip powerbomb from Sami Zayn onto Ziggler was amazing, especially shout out to Ziggler for taking that bump. His head was 2 inches from the bottom rope. If his head hit that bottom rope, he's a dead man. He is a dead man.
Yeah.
That was great. When AJ was holding onto the briefcase and Ziggler just moved to the ladder out from under him, he was just hanging on, like not knowing what to do, and then he fell. Looked like he fell 12 miles to the canvas. That was great.
We haven't seen something like that since like Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. I thought they were going to do a spot where they were going to do like the WrestleMania 17 spear while he was hanging on. And while he was up there, because he was up there for a good 30 seconds, I was like, who in this match could do a spot where they could stand on something and like reach him? And I was like, I don't know if anyone can reach him. The only one person I thought was Sami Zayn doing like some kind of DDT. And I was like, that'll kill both of them. They can't just fall, man.
Even on the sunset flip, it looked like Sami Zayn took the brunt of that impact.
Yep. He's a madman. He really shone in this match. I'm a huge Sami Zayn guy. You're not, right? You're not like
I'm not. I'm very indifferent on Sami Zayn.
Yeah. I think a win at this pay-per-view could have done a lot for Sami, kind of like it did for Daniel Bryan, to draw a comparison to another like underdog common man character. He didn't need it, but it could have really helped. I laughed a lot when they did the spot where Baron Corbin gave AJ Styles a chokeslam onto the ladder, and I tweeted it out because that's like exactly what happened with our chokeslam when we were doing the thing.
I think the table, when I chokeslammed you, gave more give than that ladder gave on the chokeslam by Baron Corbin.
It definitely did, especially because we did 2 takes of that chokeslam. We did one.
Oh, yeah.
And I kept saying, I was like, the table's not going to break. The table, I mean, it's a plastic table. We're supposed to, I told office manager Brett, you got to get a wood table. I said, I'll gimmick it. I've gimmicked tables for indies in the past. You saw through the metal supports, and then you just take a screwdriver and you carve away at the middle. Breaks easy peasy, feels like $1 million. He's like, I promise you'll definitely go through this plastic beer pong table. I'm like, not gonna happen. We went over maybe for a half an hour which move we were gonna do to put me through it. Yeah. Landed on chokeslam. You chokeslammed me the first time. It felt great. I said it felt like I landed on a trampoline because I bounced. Yeah. And I got up and I looked at the table and we made a 2-inch dent in it. We did it again. Nothing better. Like,
so
it wasn't even close.
The first time that I chokeslammed you, I didn't really put too much force on it. I kind of just let gravity do the work. The second time, I like threw you as hard as I could towards the table. Like I was surprised that you didn't go through it the second time.
And a certain WWE United States champion said that the reason I didn't go through the table is because you put no arm behind it.
Yeah, and that was the wrong video too. No.
No, that was the right video. That was the one. Yeah. That was the second one where I like almost broke my neck falling off the table.
Yeah, like I put you down so hard that you fell off the other side.
I did.
So
yeah,
it was an
that
A
didn't feel
by
good.
Me.
That didn't feel good at all. And I can't imagine anything that Kevin Owens took in this match felt great. He took some like, Kevin, are you trying to kill yourself? Sami Zayn threw him off the top turnbuckle onto the ladder, where the ladder didn't fold completely, so he just like fell to the side, hit the bottom of the ladder. That looked like it sucked. He took the dragon suplex on the apron from Sami, and then he took a Death Valley driver from AJ Styles off the apron onto a ladder. I was like, this fucking guy is out of his mind. He always takes these crazy ladder match bumps. The Death Valley driver one annoyed me because they immediately cut to one of those goofy fan reactions, like before Kevin was even done selling the move. It was an instant like, oh, whoa, what a move! I can't believe it.
Yeah,
they're
fake
so
fan
phony.
reactions always piss me off,
so
especially
phony.
when it's Brock Lesnar guy. Who do you think? You can't use Baron Corbin. Who do you think came out of this match looking the best?
For me, I liked Sami Zayn a lot, but I think for the majority of fans, it was probably Nakamura, because we've talked about his kind of underwhelming main roster matches so far. The one against Ziggler on pay-per-view, and then all of the ones on TV haven't blown anyone away, but he's billed as someone that will blow you away with every match. And this one, he wasn't in the match for a lot of it, but he joined at the right time in that final third of the match, where he got to do the face-off with AJ. He got to do, like, Kinshasas everywhere. He got to do, he got to do a lot, and the crowd was really hot for him, like going absolutely wild for him, that I think it's probably Nakamura.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And
why? Who are you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say Sami Zayn because of the spots that he pulled off. He definitely got. I don't think that anyone really thought that he had a chance to win, but I'm always looking for that guy who kind of, quote unquote, steals the show, and they're not in a position to really win the Money in the Bank, but they do some crazy shit so that it's like, all right, I I'm not gonna win, I know I'm not gonna win, but I'm gonna do some shit that makes you remember what I did in this match, and I think that Sami Zayn did that for me.
Yeah, Sami works best in ladder matches and multi-man matches, and this was both, so that really helps. If you go back and if you're looking for something indie to watch, Sami Zayn versus El Generico versus Kevin Steen from PWG Steenwolf is an amazing match. El Generico is a guy that wrestles a lot like Sami Zayn. And El Generico versus Kevin Steen Ladder War from Ring of Honor Final Battle 2011, I want to say, 2012 maybe, is two like amazing ladder matches with insane spots the whole time. And Sami is just so good in multi-man matches. I wish that he got an opportunity to work in singles matches more often. But what did you think of the finish of this match, of Baron Corbin kind of just tipping the ladder, running up, and having a very hard time unhooking the briefcase?
Yeah, when he was taking his time up there, I thought for sure that someone was going to intervene. There's always that one moment of doubt when it's like, oh wow, like I picked this guy to win. He looks like he's going to win, so who's going to ruin this? And then he kind of just went up there, fiddled with the briefcase for a good 20 awkward seconds.
Took him a while.
Yeah,
like, dude, I was screaming at my TV because I was like, "Oh, this must be so embarrassing for him." I was like, "Squeeze, unhook! Come on, you got this!"
Like I for sure thought someone was going to intervene at that point. But yeah, he unhooks it, and Baron Corbin is Mr. Money in the Bank. I'm interested to see how they handle it with him, because I think we know how they're going to handle it with Carmella. I think they're going to drag that one out. She's, her thing is just going to be coming out during title matches and being a distraction.
It could be, or if Daniel Bryan threatens, like, all right, at the next pay-per-view, you're going to have to put that briefcase on the line, they could run with the gimmick that she's urgent to get rid of it. And she's urgent, like, I have to cash this in quick because I'm about to get it stripped of me or something. I thought they might have done that. I thought that's the story they were going with the Lana match. I thought Lana was going to win, and then she was going to cash in immediately and be like, you can't do anything now. I already cashed in. I don't have that briefcase.
Right. Yeah.
And rob a bank and spend the money.
It's a good angle to go with. But for Corbin, I think it'll be interesting to see when he's a guy that I don't think is ready for the WWE title or just being in the main event picture. I don't think he's ready for that. So I think he could end up being a Money in the Bank winner that you just sort of forget is the Money in the Bank winner.
I hope it works out for him, because I think Corbin has showed improvement pretty much at every stage of his career. I think he's a different wrestler than he was when he debuted in NXT. I think he's a different wrestler than he was when he debuted in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Mm-hmm. So I hope it works out for him. It feels like there hasn't been a Money in the Bank cash-in years, because Dean Ambrose cashed in right away last year, same night cash-in. Before him was Sheamus, and Sheamus cashed in at Survivor Series, so he didn't hold it for very long, and he also wasn't on TV a ton when he held the briefcase.
Yeah.
I'm excited to just have a Mr. Money in the Bank, and now a Mrs. Money in the Bank. It's like one of my favorite gimmicks that the WWE does, is teasing a cash-in all the time, and it's been a while since we have that. And I think Corbin will hold it for a while, because I can't see him cashing in on Jinder Mahal, because that would just make him a babyface.
Right.
People would cheer for him all the time then. So whoever takes the title off of Jinder is going to have to watch their back, which it might be Cena. I hope it's not, honestly, because I don't want Cena's 17th title win to be off Jinder Mahal.
So don't you think that it's probably going to end up being Shinsuke?
Maybe. And that, I'm cool with that.
So if Shinsuke takes it off of Jinder Mahal, now it's, I guess, a better matchup, a better feud option for Corbin if it ends up being Shinsuke, because there's no way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got to be careful with Shinsuke though, because he has to start like really impressing people in the ring before you hotshot him to the title, because you're gonna run the risk of having a Roman reaction of like, why are you putting this guy in the main event? Why is this guy the champion when he's having lackluster matches?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely.
So you got to be careful with him, especially if you're going to put him against Jinder Mahal, because Jinder Mahal cannot have a good match.
So now you have kind of 3 big question marks, which are not really. I mean, when you talk about question marks in pro wrestling, that's usually a good thing. Like I like not knowing where things are going to go, as long as the company knows where they're going to go. Because if they don't know, then that's when it's a problem. But when you have, where does Corbin go from here? Where does Shinsuke Nakamura go from here? Because if he didn't win the Money in the Bank title, like contract, where is he going to go from here? And now I guess they're going to do one more match with Jinder and Randy Orton, which there's no way Randy Orton's going to win that one either. We've been asking this for a couple weeks now. Where does Jinder Mahal go after he finishes his feud with Randy Orton? Is it John Cena?